Hello, it's Maddie Roboleski again with Medina County, Ohio Guidestone. Also, if you have any questions before or after the video, please feel free to contact me at this email address. Thank you. So for this week, this video is a little bit more geared towards parents and caregivers. It's about how do we help our child with their schoolwork. During this time, a lot of us have been given a new role, which is helping our child do their academic work and serving as a pseudo teacher in some ways. So with the Ohio Department of Education resources, we have made a slideshow with 6 tips that could help you while you're at home helping your child. And here it is. So, tips for helping your child with virtual schooling. This is an adjustment not just for our children, but also for us. So it's important for us to step back and understand that this is a new role, and this may be daunting. So let's find some useful things that could help us. What are some barriers that your children are having in virtual learning? I'm sure everyone could think of one. But I know a lot of children are feeling frustrated or anxious or bored with their schoolwork. A lot of them, it feels like homework and not as much like they're actually in school. So what can we do to help them to keep them focused and not have to be holding their hand throughout this process? Tip number 1 is setting up a dedicated space. If it's possible, try to have an area that's just for schoolwork. So for example, if it's the kitchen table is where we do our schoolwork, and then other parts of the house is where we have our fun and our play and our break. However it's best for you and your family, trying to keep that in mind that this area is the classroom and this area is the playroom. Also, trying to limit distractions. Thinking of we now have new distractions at home that we wouldn't normally have at school. We have our TVs, we have all of our toys and all of our electronics. And although those are really tempting for us as children to play with, it's important to remind your children that during this time we're doing schoolwork. So we need to limit the amount of toys in sight to avoid those distractions. The third tip is setting time limits. Now, this can be set in many different ways and what works best for you. It can be writing a schedule of the times that you're completing different classes, or it can be setting timers. This is how long we'll be doing this activity, and then we'll take a break. Keeping in mind that at school, your child is usually not sitting for several hours during the day. So they will need active breaks. So finding ways for them to take breaks while completing their schoolwork will be very beneficial. And with that, it is important, of course, to take breaks. And these are not just breaks from completely doing schoolwork and sitting down and watching TV. These breaks are sort of movement breaks. Remember that usually your child in school is having gym or they're doing different exercises. So remembering that we still need that movement. For example, doing a dance break or doing a stretch or even just walking around outside. Whatever you feel your child needs to just stretch and move while they're doing their classwork will be very beneficial. And tip number 5 is still trying to maintain social connections. Your children may be missing their school friends that they usually see every day, and that is a huge adjustment. So trying to keep in mind that they are still needing those social interactions. So whether that's figuring out a FaceTiming day or trying to make sure you're engaged in the virtual classroom, different things like that to make sure your child is still seeing their peers and they're still able to talk to children their own age. even in this new virtual way. And lastly, is being physically and emotionally available to your child. Just as you might be feeling frustrated with this new role, your child may also be having frustrations with the different adjustments of how school now is. So letting them talk about it and understanding their feelings is a very good thing you can do. Let them talk about their frustrations and why they're feeling confused, and then try to help them best that you can. Remembering that the way we respond with our own emotions might also build on to our child's emotions. So if our child is feeling really frustrated about the work, and we in return yell at them because we're feeling frustrated that they're not completing it, that might build on the frustration, making things worse. So remembering when you're frustrated, how do you like when others respond? And the last one is, don't be afraid to reach out to your teachers for extra help. Ask the teachers, what would they recommend? What sort of tips do they have? Your teachers know your child's learning style probably really well, so they might be able to give you some different insight that maybe you didn't know yourself. So those are our 6 tips for helping your children learn in this virtual environment. Again, if you have any questions, please email me at the email address from the beginning. Thank you.